Look up. On a clear day, you might see them. Long white lines stretching across the blue. Some say they're just harmless contrails. Others say they're evidence of something far more serious. In a recent interview, Dane Wigington told Tucker Carlson that what we're seeing is not condensation. It's part of a global climate engineering operation. Today, we're digging in. What did Wigington claim? What does the science say? And what should you believe? Wigington argues that the term chemtrails is a deliberate dismissive phrase that frames the discussion as conspiracy. Instead, he uses technical terms like solar radiation management, SRM, or stratospheric aerosol injection, SAI. Here are his key claims. He says there is up-close footage of military aircraft, KC-10s, C-17 Globemasters, with visible nozzles turning dispersal on and off. He claims that samples taken from the emissions show bioavailable free-form aluminum nanoparticles, which he says correspond to patents for climate engineering dispersion. He alleges the existence of gag orders on federal agencies like NOAA and the National Weather Service preventing scientists from speaking out. Wigington frames this as suppression. Lastly, he draws a link to historical operations like Operation Popeye, which modified weather during the Vietnam War, to suggest this is not a new idea, but one with precedent. In his own words, there's sprayed particulate dispersion. There is no theory in this equation. We found exactly what we knew we would find, starting with aluminum nanoparticles. The chemtrails term is by design the instant marginalization term. So that's the case Wigington makes. Big, bold, quite alarming. Let's pull this apart and then compare to what mainstream science says. Here's what the large body of atmospheric science says. Jets emit hot exhaust, mostly water vapor and some other gases and particulates. At high altitude, where temperatures drop below 40 degrees Celsius, that vapor can freeze into tiny ice crystals, creating a visible line behind the aircraft. Whether the line fades quickly or persists depends largely on the humidity of the surrounding air. If the ambient air is nearly saturated, the trail can spread and linger, forming cirrus-type clouds. On the aluminum nanoparticles claim, peer-reviewed work shows that jet exhaust contains only trace metals, and often what activists cite as evidence stems from ground dust, measurement errors, or misinterpreted sampling. One widely cited survey of atmospheric scientists found that 8.7% saw no evidence of a secret, large-scale aerosol spraying program. In other words, ordinary physics offers an explanation for what we see in the sky, and it doesn't require a global covert program. This is where things get interesting. Even if the secret spraying claim remains unverified, geoengineering itself is real. Scientists and policymakers are talking publicly about concepts like SRM, reflecting sunlight to slow warming. But, and this is key, these are open research topics, not necessarily evidence of covert operations spanning decades with thousands of participants. So the claims intersect. On one hand, Wigington says this has already been going on for years in secret. On the other hand, science says some of these tools exist or are being considered, but they're not proven to have been deployed at scale covertly, which raises the question, are we looking at a real covert program, or a misinterpretation of visible atmospheric phenomena, or somewhere in between? When you next look up and see those lines crisscrossing the sky, here are 3 filter questions to help you evaluate. 1. Atmospheric conditions. Was the trail short-lived or persistent? Was the sky already hazy or humid at altitude? 2. Aircraft type and context. Was this a commercial jet on a known route or a military unknown craft? Does the footage show actual nozzle discharge or just typical exhaust? 3. Data and sampling. Are there credible, peer-reviewed studies supporting nanoparticle contamination from these trails, or do the claims rely primarily on activist sampling? My view? It's wise to remain curious and skeptical. Accepting mainstream explanations without examination is uncritical, but embracing claims of a vast covert operation without strong independent verification might be premature. To wrap up, Wigington's claims paint a dramatic picture of atmospheric aerosol dispersion, hidden in plain sight. The scientific community largely says what we're seeing be the physics of condensation and ice crystals in high-altitude jets. But the topic of geoengineering does sit in the middle. It's not conspiracy theory if researchers are actively discussing it. So next time you see that white line in the sky, I want you to think, is this nature or engineered? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like and subscribe for more investigations. And if you've got images or data you've captured, send them our way. Until next time, keep looking up, stay curious, and question what you're told.